In the shadow of a world war, two giants emerged, their flags representing not just nations, but entire belief systems. This was the dawn of a new kind of conflict. It wasn't a war of bullets and trenches. It was a war of minds, of secrets, and of fear. A global chess match where every move could trigger the end of the world. This is the story of the Cold War. The year is 1945. The embers of World War II are still warm. But the alliance that defeated fascism is already fracturing. On one side, the United States, championing capitalism, individual liberty, and free markets. On the other, the Soviet Union, driven by the ideology of communism, collective ownership, and state control. Two visions for humanity's future, fundamentally incompatible. As Winston Churchill famously declared, an iron curtain had descended across the continent, dividing Europe into two hostile camps. The lines were drawn, and the world held its breath. The greatest fear was not of armies marching, but of mushroom clouds rising. The atomic bombs that ended one war became the terrifying centerpiece of the next. This was the arms race. Each superpower scrambled to build a more powerful nuclear arsenal than the other, creating a deadly paradox known as mutually assured destruction, or MAD. The logic was simple and terrifying. If either side launched an attack, the other would retaliate with overwhelming force, ensuring the annihilation of both. War rooms buzzed with tension, missile silos stood ready, and military tests in remote deserts demonstrated a destructive power previously unimaginable. Humanity now possessed the means to engineer its own extinction. But the competition wasn't limited to earthly weapons. It soared into the heavens. The space race began in 1957, when the Soviet Union stunned the world by launching Sputnik, the first artificial satellite. A small, beeping sphere orbiting the Earth became a symbol of Soviet technological prowess. They followed this triumph by sending the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into orbit. America, feeling a blow to its prestige and security, responded with fierce determination. President Kennedy declared a bold goal to land a man on the moon before the decade was out. This ignited a frantic push for innovation, leading to the creation of NASA and the monumental Apollo program. In 1969, as Neil Armstrong took his one small step, the world watched, captivated. The space race was more than a contest for technological dominance. It was a battle for hearts and minds, a global spectacle played out against the backdrop of the stars. While the world looked up at the skies, a silent war was being waged in the shadows. This was the age of the spy. The American CIA and the Soviet KGB deployed a hidden army of agents across the globe. Their weapons were not guns, but intellect, deception, and cutting-edge technology. Intelligence gathering was paramount. Agents used dead drops, microdots, and sophisticated code-breaking machines to steal state secrets. Defections, double agents, and covert operations became the currency of this clandestine conflict. Every piece of information, every whispered secret, could tip the delicate balance of power. It was a deadly game of cat and mouse, where a single mistake could have fatal consequences. In October 1962, the Shadow War burst into the open, bringing the world to the brink of nuclear annihilation. American spy planes discovered Soviet nuclear missile sites under construction in Cuba, just 90 miles from the coast of Florida. For 13 terrifying days, the Cuban Missile Crisis unfolded. President John F. Kennedy and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev engaged in a high-stakes standoff. The world watched in horror as naval blockades were established and military forces were placed on high alert. It was the closest the Cold War ever came to becoming hot. Tense negotiations, back-channel communications, and a profound understanding of the stakes ultimately pulled both sides back from the abyss. A deal was struck, the missiles were removed, and humanity breathed a collective sigh of relief. Nowhere was the division of the Cold War more tangible than in the city of Berlin. Deep inside communist East Germany, the city itself was split. In 1961, the East German government, backed by the Soviets, erected a brutal barrier of concrete and barbed wire, the Berlin Wall. It was built overnight, cleaving the city in two, separating families, friends, and loved ones. The wall became the ultimate symbol of the Iron Curtain, a stark physical representation of the ideological chasm between East and West. On one side, the vibrant, free West Berlin; on the other, The controlled austere East, propaganda posters on both sides painted a picture of prosperity versus oppression, creating a daily battle for perception in the heart of the divided continent. By the 1980s, the foundations of the Soviet Empire were beginning to crack. Decades of massive military spending and a stagnant, centrally planned economy had taken their toll. Shortages were common, and public discontent grew. A new Soviet leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, introduced radical reforms, glasnost, meaning openness, and perestroika, meaning restructuring. He hoped to revitalize the communist system, but instead, he unleashed forces that could no longer be contained. A wave of revolutions swept across Eastern Europe. Then, on November 9, 1989, the unthinkable happened. The Berlin Wall, that hated symbol of division, fell. Crowds swarmed the barrier, tearing it down with hammers and bare hands in a joyous celebration of freedom. The Soviet Union itself dissolved just 2 years later, and the global chess match finally came to an end. The Cold War was over, but its legacy endures. It reshaped the globe, creating new alliances and redrawing political maps. It didn't end conflict, but it fundamentally changed how wars are fought. The battleground shifted from physical territory to the realms of information, technology, economic influence, and cyber warfare. The chess match continues, played with new pieces on a different board. The echoes of this great power struggle still resonate today. A reminder of a time when the world stood on a knife's edge, caught between two futures. If you want to explore more pivotal moments in history, subscribe to Digital Time Vault. Thank you for watching.